the button, but it will let me do it, which disconnects the stream to allow me to do notifying you all that we're live. Anyway, the wonders of technology sometimes. Anyway, as you can always see, the ponies, the horses, they're all out, as always. At least it's not like last time. I mean, last week, I immediately got down here, was literally finger over the button to go live. And then, look at this poor boy. Bless him. Anyway, yes, I was finger over the button, ready to go live, and the heavens opened. Although this morning it's, as you can see, it might rain, but certainly not this morning, at least. But we'll see. But it's been a while since we've been up this early and started at 7. I know I normally start at 8. But as they say, the early bird and all that jazz. Oh. But yes, a fantastic morning, as always, up here in good old Yorkshire. So, we are in good company, as always. Whoop. Which country am I from? The UK. But yes, we are, of course, literally, I think everyone's stunned by what's going on in Iran. I mean, I'm like, why? Why? Just why? There is absolutely and was never any reason to go to war with Iran. And we'll get into the weeds of this, as I'm sure, as we'll go throughout the day, because I'm pretty sure we're going to be spending the rest of this stream pretty much talking about Iran. None of this makes a bit of sense. None of this makes a bit of sense as to why you would just go and attack Iran, especially in the way that Trump is doing it, because it really does seem that as far as Trump is concerned, he can basically force Iran to surrender basically through air power. That you just bomb them and then what? They surrender? I don't know if people have heard, he's issued a he's demanded unconditional surrender. Which, why and how? It's unbelievable. Oh wow, this just, I swear to God, this just gets even worse, this path, every single time we come down here. But yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, demanding unconditional surrender. Because how are you going to enforce? How are you going to enforce that? Because the only way you can do that is if you put boots on the ground. And at least as far as everyone can tell, there is no ground invasion, at least on the way. And there is no way you're going to wipe out the army, the Republican Guard, in order to be able to do that just from the air. This is where like, you have to have boots on the ground, not only to be able to enforce like your terms, you know, your decisions, or else it just doesn't work. And there has been zero thought put into this campaign whatsoever. You know, I think someone must have said to Trump, bomb Iran, and you know, it'll look good. You know, it'll look good. What's this? Apparently the Kurds have been armed in and around northern Iran. I don't even know if the Kurds are going to go into Iran, because if you look at their history, and especially with Donald Trump in charge, at every single point when that's happened, the Kurds have pretty much been abandoned, and specifically by Trump. Why would the Kurds go in? Like, they've got zero reason to trust, like, the Trump administration. Like, they've been betrayed by the Trump administration so many times. Why would they trust them? You know, it's just. I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, you're not wrong, of course. That is a scenario a lot of people are talking about. But even then, I don't think that they have enough forces to be able to take on all of Iran's army, even if the Americans and the Israelis say, right, we will provide you with air support. I just don't think there are enough of them to be able to actually go ahead and do that in that scenario. There's a large Kurd population already in Iran. And yes, of course, they were abandoned in Syria. But there were various, of course, different groups of Kurds with different alliances. The Kurds have a population of about 70 million. The population of Iran is about 90 million. The Kurds are not a small population. Yeah, but how many of those are actually soldiers? You know, how many of those are actually soldiers on that one? You know, and then how does, for example, does this like enforce a new state, considering the fact that there's another country that's actually come out and said, yeah, we're no part of this. Not only that, but the Kurds are not united. This is something else I've seen that a lot of people just think, they just refer to the Kurds. They are not united as people think. There are like multiple different factions of Kurds, and they all hate each other with a passion. You know, this is like if you had best example is like you have like different political parties of the Kurds. This is what they're currently like, and they all hate each other. Even if somehow they, quote, did succeed, then that would probably lead to probably a civil war in those areas. It's a situation of I do not see any of this going well. I just do not see any of this like going well at all. It's just so ill-conceived and thought out amongst us. You know, on that one. Yeah, the PKK, the PIJ, the Peshmerga, yeah, to name a few, all very confusing. And you are right. This is, you know, people. I don't think, given like, you know, the Trump administration has even bothered to know like what group they are engaging with. I mean, it's they'll have done no research, of course, and it's just one of those situations where it is just going to go, I think, wild. And I always refer back to the French Revolution. I always refer back to the French Revolution because there was a revolution that went completely off the rails. No one had even predicted like what would end up happening as like a consequence like of the revolution. Many of like the moderates basically just assumed that they would like not kill the king, but they would like put a government in and around him. They would like get a constitution, and that they would become sort of like constitutional monarchy. That was like the genuine feeling. But no, the radicals, of course, took over in this case, and you do not know like the situation on the ground. Like, there's been all this talk about the Iranian people rising up and like retaking their government, and you're like, well, that's just a recipe for civil war at the end of the day, because even then, what about all the other supporters of the regime? And even if you do, let's say, get a democracy going again, what if like the old quote regime wins that democracy, wins that particular vote, and they get put in charge again? Then what do? Do you just start this all again? Trump is demanding that he wants to be like the guy who picks the next leader, and you're like, they've got no idea what they are doing. They've got no idea what they are doing. It is wildly concerning that like they are just doing this. But anyway, before we go on even more, just like asking ourselves why, because that is the biggest question, honestly, about all this. Good morning everyone joining us today. Welcome to the Good Morning Walk. Do remember to click the like and share button. It always helps. Don't forget to say hello in the chat. Good luck. Say good morning to Hoser Poppin, Visakar, Hasim. Good morning to you. Good morning everyone watching us this morning. But it is wild, essentially, what is going on. And remember, there was never any need for this. Trump tore up the Obama deal, which basically assured you would not have to ever do this. The Obama deal was like an amazing achievement in like international diplomacy, and Trump just tore it up. Lily K, good morning everyone. But it is insane that you would just go through, tear up that deal, and bear in mind, before all this started, we were hearing that the talks were apparently bearing fruit, that these talks were working. So why did you feel the need to go ahead and bomb Iran? What? None of this makes any sense, because you do not know like the consequences that could happen. Iran could devolve into a civil war. There could be a situation where now, because Iran has always been very much split between like very hardline conservatives, and of course the more moderate faction of them, of the conservatives. Like, everything that America has done, from Donald Trump tearing up the bill to just bombing Iran even more, has done nothing but empower the hardline conservative faction and brought more people to their side. This whole bombing campaign, any maybe on the fence Iranian who might have generally been fed up of their government, fed up of their of the current regime, may now have just gone, you know what, screw it, I'm just gonna stick with them for the time being. It's just one of those situations where there was never any need for this. There was never ever any need for this whatsoever. The Obama deal, was, again, I keep on reminding people about it, but if you can go back and you look at some of the articles that were written about this, praising the fact that US diplomats had got this deal and that they got it signed away, and that this had basically answered a lot of the questions about Iran, of course, on this, and that there was not really going to be a need to go ahead and bomb it in this way, but I've always said, there was really a moment, there really was a moment where we could have brought Iran back in from the cold, so to say, where we could have gone, engaged with them more. We could have said, yeah, we don't really agree with the fact that you've got the moral police walking around. We don't really agree with a lot of your rules and laws, but we'll be keeping an eye on them, and we'll be talking, and if you do anything bad, we'll certainly speak out about it. But we could have generally brought them back in from the cold. We could have lifted sanctions. There could have been so much stuff you could have done, and then none of this would have been necessary, because I honestly think Iran, if we'd have done that, would have ended up something like Turkey. I generally think that's potentially where it would have ended up, but God knows if that's even possible now. And who knows what next week will bring, of course. You have no idea what's going to happen, quite frankly, at this moment in time, and that is the worrying thing. John, good morning to you. I have no idea how you say that. Munchina, good morning to you as well. But good morning everyone else joining us. If I've missed you in chat, good morning as well. He can't believe it when people fight back, classic bully. But Iran was always going to fight back, but their ability to, well, we're going to have to talk about that guy that's suddenly gained a lot of popularity in a moment. The Chinese guy, the quotes, air quotes, Professor What's His Face. We're going to have to talk about that. Predictive History, I believe his channel goes by, but we'll talk about him on a moment. But John, yes, good morning to you. One, Trump's motivations. Number one, divert attention away from Epstein. Yep, absolutely. Two, prepare for martial law, or at least the equivalent in the USA, to stop midterm elections. Again, everyone is saying this, that he's going to somehow stop the midterm elections. Given the fact of how unpopular he is, and the US public reaction to this war has been massively unpopular. I don't see how he could get away with cancelling the midterms. Like, that alone would be wild. There would be challenges. There would be a lot of stuff. I can even see Republicans going, yeah, even we don't want to get involved in that. You know, there's been a lot of people predicting this for a while, but I don't see it happening. He will try, though, because he's dumb. Yeah, he can try, and he'll be dumb, and then we'll see what happens if, basically, they try and impeach him for trying to cancel the elections. Yeah, that's in predictive history. God, let's talk about him, because here's a channel that blew up, and this guy did a video on like why the US will not win a war in Iran, and his whole argument is that Americans are using like $100 million missile to shoot down like a $50 million drone, and that they can't make enough of these missiles, which is really dumb because, first of all, the drones in particular, the Shahed drones that he's talking about, you don't actually need missiles to shoot them down. Sure, you can use missiles if you want to shoot them down, absolutely, but, you know, America's got jets out there with missiles. It also has, as the meme goes, big guns that go brrr. And for some reason, everyone seems to forget that, like, as a critical part of air defense, you have these very big guns that shoot like a ridiculous amount of ammunition out in like under a minute. Like, people seem to forget that is part of... Ooh, train just going past that. You know, people seem to forget that gun is part of like air defense. And that these, you know, drones that they've got, they're not that fast, you know. And it's strange that, you know, you would make that argument and not include those guns that are like part of air defense and the jets. And not only that, but other missiles as well that America and other countries have as part of like their air defense. And then, of course, the real kicker came in the fact that when others were exploring his channel, he seriously makes the claim, and I am dead serious about this, he makes the claim that the Second Punic War never happened, that it didn't exist, that Hannibal Barca, you know, would also didn't exist, because why on earth would this general disobey commands and go and attack Rome? You're like... what? The other part, of course, I think was a Breaking Points interview, which I think was what got a lot of attention. He blames this war on the Illuminati. Like he blames this war on the Illuminati, guys. Like don't give this guy any credence, like, at all. On this one. But yes, where are we? Oh, good morning, people joining us as well. Oh yeah, Trump is asking Ukraine to help now with the same type of drone that Russia is using in Iran. Yeah, I mean, you've only got to look at Ukraine and how they've been dealing with these drones. And oh yeah, by the way, the fact that this war has happened and that they've attacked Iran like this, Russia's just lost another ally, an important ally that provided it a lot of weaponry. So that is going to very negatively affect Russia as well. If anyone's looking for like a slight silver lining in this war, like that is it. Like the fact that their production facilities they're gone. Russia ain't getting any more help from Iran on this one. Yeah, no, I am dead serious. That guy Predictive History did an entire video using his theory that the Second Punic War never happened and that the Battle of Cannae, one of Hannibal's greatest victories, never happened. Because why would Rome ever admit to losing so many soldiers? And I kid you not, Unicorn Mullet, I kid you not, that is his take. Like, that is his take on it. I am not making this up. That is this guy's take. That is this dude on drugs? Unfortunately not, although I don't know. He is, of course, blaming this current war on the Illuminati, but, you know, be careful, guys. Don't like, this happens all the time. It's like when the Ukraine war kicked off. What's his face? Messerschmitt. Is that, I can't remember how you say his name now, but he got a ton of like publicity. And his entire shtick is basically might makes right. Russia gets Ukraine. It also gets like Eastern Europe, and that is it. That's the world we live in. Tough luck for all those countries. You know, Russia now gets to dominate you. Insane, but yeah, exactly. Hannibal's battle tactics still used today. Exactly. I kid you not. This guy called Predictive History, not a historian, by the way. He's and it's come out very recently when people have looked into him. He has a BA in English, not history, so doesn't even have, you know, a history degree. So yeah, please do be careful when sometimes these types of people pop up and want to talk about this stuff, because maybe what they're saying isn't really that good, you know. But there you go. Anyway. UK Marmalade, good morning to you. Good morning everyone else, by the way, joining us as well. Don't forget to hit the like and share button. Good morning. Trump's useful idiots, Miller, Hegseth, of course, do not understand. Vance will now dump them and, of course, replace them now with his own useful idiots. Oh, probably. I mean, now people were saying this last time, of course, Trump was in power. Honestly, you want Trump to live. Like, you want Trump to live because Vance is slightly more competent than Trump, but also is even more insane and will go for even more like crazy stuff like this, you know. Trust me, if Trump eats one too many cheeseburgers, and Vance takes over, oh boy, Oh boy, oh boy. Yeah, good morning, everyone, except that dude, of course, who said that the Second Punic War didn't even happen. Yeah, like I say, predictive history, wild. I generally can't believe he's doing that. Greetings from Pacific California, good morning. I don't expect Trump to make it through this term. I mean, you kind of do. I honestly, as much as I do not like Trump, I genuinely hope he at least makes it through this term, or at least most of the term. Because otherwise, JD Vance ends up in control, and Vance is even more crazy, more competent, and at least slightly more coherent than Trump, and would be a lot more dangerous in that fact. So I think, as the axiom goes, be careful what you wish for on that one. Yeah, it's be very careful what you wish for indeed. But the other thing, of course, is, I don't know if people have heard, Trump has now demanded unconditional surrender from Iran. And we started off the conversation with this, but there's more people now, so we'll talk about it again. How on earth do you expect to enforce unconditional surrender? How? What? You're going to enforce that? How? Without boots on the ground? What? Anyway, Pop's culture, same. I really do hope that, of course, he does make it through, doing a pretty, quote, good job. I want to see him follow through, though. Can't wait to vote for JD. Well, that's insane. That's insane. Considering Trump is failing almost every single metric on there. But, you know, the Trumpolite's going to Trump, I suppose. I'm not a Trump fan, but why do you think Vance is more dangerous? Vance is a lot more ideologically driven than Trump is. He's a lot more ideologically dangerous. So the fact that, you know, Trump is bombing Iran, Vance would probably even go further than that. Not only that, but we are probably, I would not be too surprised if he does something with Cuba in the not too distant future. You know, Marco Rubio is certainly pushing for that on that front. You know, Vance is very much someone who basically will just go, yeah, we're not only just going to bomb Cuba, we're going to invade Cuba, and then that'll be it. You know, he's a lot more gung-ho. He's a lot more fire and brimstone than Trump is. He is sort of like the guy you don't really want taking over on that one. He is not the... He's not a good one, basically. Not only that, but as you've seen with, like, Trump's advisors, he would probably invite even more crazy people in. And part of the reason why things are as bad as they are is because people like Hegseth have zero idea, will not take any advice from any people whatsoever. And it's yeah, that's why we are where we are now. Basically, with who knows what is going to happen with Iran in, like, the next week or the week after. But to think that you can just ask, oh yeah, can we have unconditional surrender? Okay, how do you enforce that without boots on the ground? Is Trump going to commit boots on the ground? I don't think so. If he doesn't commit boots on the ground, sure, we'll surrender. Oh, look, things are back to normal after a week. Just ignore all the stuff we agreed to. Just how do you even enforce that? Wild. Pop culture. Cuba, of course, could never be a state. If anything, it would be a territory. And of course, there will be certain privileges of states they get, though we wouldn't, of course, just give away 10-year-old place. Iran is a message, but well, what am I talking about that I don't have a clue about? But you do tell me. Cuba will play the 51st state. Yeah, I mean, this is it. They are building up. I think Cuba will be next. I think you'll be very, very worried. I think if you were Cuba right now, seeing what's going on with Iran, there was the whole, there was the whole boat thing that happened recently. That would be pretty wild if they went on that one. Now there's no oil in Cuba. But you know what? There are communists. There are communists in Cuba. And you forget that the United States has even more hard-on for communists than oil sometimes. So be careful on that one. Just think of all the money you get from their old cars. I mean, you're not wrong on that one. You're not wrong. There's a lot of very old classic cars in Cuba that you are right. People would probably make a lot of money from selling. Yeah. Because obviously you've got the bases in Cuba, but it's actually having, okay guys, we're gonna press the start button. and bear in mind, logistically, Cuba would be a lot easier to control on this one, because it would be close to the US. You'd need a lot fewer troops than you would need to occupy all of Iran, for example, on that one. But it is becoming now such a more dangerous world. It is becoming such a more dangerous world on this one, all because Trump is just deciding, international law, don't need it. And oh yeah, Hegseth, crazy Pete Hegseth, turning around and basically saying, what was it? The rules of war don't apply, or something like that. He basically said recently. Wild. I don't think we're going to occupy all of Iran. Even if you only occupy like the area around the Straits of Hormuz and the south, you still need a lot of people to actually occupy that. Yeah, rules for thee, not for me. Exactly. This is why we have international, an international rules-based order, and Trump is just destroying this all up. And a lot of people have said this. There needs to be now, like, middle powers getting together and essentially putting the pressure on Trump. And I think eventually, sooner or later, something's got to give, and I think you'll see countries do that. But it's a question of what's going to be that breaking point, what's going to be that point where they do that. But who knows what that'll be. Well, it's been over 40 years placating Iran to behave themselves. Iran was behaving themselves. That's why Obama signed the US-Iran deal, which worked incredibly well. One of the best pieces of US diplomacy, and Trump tore it up. There was no need to do any of this with the Iran deal. Oh. You know, there was never any need to do this. The Obama deal was perfect. It got everything. It solved so many problems. It solved so many problems. There was no need to do this. We had international inspectors basically free to go in and check their weapons. Iran was going to agree to, you know, limit its, you know, energy production to just civil stuff, which again, part of the UN inspector's job would be to basically to check and maintain that. And there were even checks and stuff that were in place where if Iran didn't behave, there would be punishments for it. And even Iran agreed to that. And it was a big win for the moderates, because the hardline conservative factions basically said, you cannot trust America, we do not trust them. Obama got that deal signed with the moderates, they gained more power, they gained more influence, and it was basically realizing, or at least a lot of people in Iran were realizing, well, actually, if we don't take this, like, you know, stance that the hardliners take, actually things might get better. Things might be better. That maybe we don't have to be like, you know, so religious in our zealotry to hating America. Maybe that if we engage with them and engage with like the rest of the West, maybe things could get better in Iran. Trump ripped that up to pieces. And yeah, I've said it before, there was really a moment where we could have brought Iran more into like the Western fold. We really could have. And Trump destroyed that, basically. There was never any need to do this. There was never any need to go to war on this. And yet here we are. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, Code John. Trump's stupidity knows no bounds. And that really was the case. Really, Starmer is basically, I think, doing a pretty good job on this, honestly. He's basically said, yeah, we're not going to take part in this war. So, yeah, I think he's good on this. Israel played a role? No, Israel was basically, from what we know, is heavily involved in this. They've got, of course, their own agenda to push on this. Oh, hang on. There we go. God, I swear this path just gets worse every time. Anyway, there we go. It's just so weird that this is just going on and this is just happening like this. There's no need for this. Yeah, UK keeping its trust, exactly, because someone's going to need to mediate. I mean, we know there's a lot of countries out there offering to mediate. We know there's a lot of countries offering to mediate on this, but Trump doesn't care because he's basically issued a ultimatum of I want unconditional surrender. As I keep on saying, good luck enforcing that without boots on the ground. And I don't think the American public are going to respond to that very well, considering Iraq. I don't think they're going to consider very well doing that. Not only that, but those troops will become a target for insurgents. Kind of not what, you know, Donald Trump promising to be the anti-war president, the anti-intervention president, was it? Oh. People need to tell me what exactly I'm wrong about, because then I will address that. But if you're just going to tell me I'm wrong and not specifically state why I'm wrong, then I won't. Then what we doing on that one? He wants unconditional cooperation. No, he wants unconditional surrender. How do you please can someone please tell me how you enforce unconditional surrender without having boots on the ground? Peace through strength? More like peace through stupidity. Because you do not know what your bombing campaign is going to result in. How do you know? How do you know? How do you know that how do you know that this situation is going to get infinitely worse because of this? You were wrong about Venezuela? What was I wrong about Venezuela? You know? Trump got very lucky with the fact that nothing bad happened. The fact that you've taken the leader, but the regime still remains in place in Venezuela. How is that a victory? And what did that exactly prove? That, oh, we can just take a world leader at any point just because we don't like them? The phrase, just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do it, comes to mind. Oh. He's just cleaning up a mess that's getting worse. How do we know that that mess wasn't going to work? How do we know that the Iranians themselves would not have eventually have had like a revolution of their own at some point, and that things would have got better? You don't even know that that would have happened. You know, the idea that all of this somehow, quote, gets better after this is an absolute madness, because you have zero idea what will happen. And I always refer back to the French Revolution. The French Revolution, classic example. A revolution that initially was started because a lot of the moderates at the charge of the time wanted to turn the king into a constitutional monarchy. They wanted to put powers essentially on the monarchy. They wanted more control in what went on in the government. That's not what ended up happening now, was it, though? You know, the initial aims of the revolution didn't really go that way, did it? You know? And you can't predict, you literally cannot predict what is going to happen in Iran now. Because it's just going to go crazy. The best hope, and generally the best somehow thing that could possibly happen, is that maybe there is either a coup or someone from the government comes forward and goes, okay, we're basically going to keep on getting bombed unless we agree to these terms. So let's just agree to these ridiculous terms, wait out Trump's term, which is not going to be 2 years long. And then the second he's gone, just go, yeah, we're not following any of that stuff anymore. Back to business as usual. Like, how? Like, generally that is the best thing that could happen. Like, generally that is the best thing that could happen for Iran now. Generally it was. You're right, Obama deal was very good. The Iranians, of course, got their money back, and of course they agreed to stop producing uranium. Exactly, the Obama deal was perfect. Look back at all of the stuff written at the time, but especially by like rabid warhawk Republicans who were like, Obama's removed all of our reason to go to war. What's he doing? You know, their reaction of that was insane. their reaction to this generally has been insane on this, and I think that there was never any need for this. I keep on bringing this up continuously. There was never any need for this. The Obama deal was good. It was perfect. Got everything we needed. The big problem is, as always, is that Israel has a lot of influence because we know that they're the ones that really kicked this off, this mess. But yeah, and we've got to. At some point, someone has to reign in Israel because if you've seen their quote plans for Greater Israel, which involve pretty much eating like 4 or 5 states, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy that you would just want this. But yeah, exactly. Israel is a whole separate problem. It really, really is. Yeah, does Trump even know what the plan is? Exactly. People bringing this up. What's the plan? You bomb Iran and then what? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Israel. I think the big problem is the fact that you've got a right-wing government in Israel. That is the big problem there. And I generally think the next time there's an election, I don't think Netanyahu's going to win. And I think that will be very, very good if they can. Oh, don't know if you can see it. Partridge running across the field there. I doubt if the Israel government would twist telling Trump the plan. I mean, the whole thing with attacking Iran is Israel basically wants to be the only power player in the region. That is their thing. They want to try and basically wipe Iran off. That's their plan. They want to remove Iran from the game board. They want to make it a failed state. They want to, in many ways, induce civil war. Then at least it keeps, them from quote being there for the time being. But that is insane because that alone is going to cause so much problems for that region. And again, you don't know what's going to happen to that region. The idea that you can predict what's going to happen with like Iran for like the next 10 years is ludicrous. It's absolutely ludicrous if you think that. It's madness if you somehow think that like you can predict what is going to happen in Iran for the next year. And anyone who is saying I know 100% sure is lying. Like, I can give predictions, but I don't even know if any of those will be true or accurate, to be honest. I mean, I've said before just a moment ago, I think the best option would be if someone just realizes, oh, actually, all we have to do is, quote, surrender, in air quotes, agree to whatever some stuff that Trump says, wait out his term, and then just go back to business as usual. Like that is that is basically what I would do if I was a high up in the government to do that. That would be my plan. Yeah, exactly. Iran is huge. Iran is huge. There's, it's incredibly mountainous. It's an absolute fortress. An insurgency there would be very easily be carried out just because of the terrain. You put boots on the ground, and it will probably be like Iraq, but 10 times worse. I think the insurgency there will be far more motivated to resist than they were in Iran. It is not going to go very well all for them. Yeah, the only thing America can do is find a way out. Yeah. Yep, exactly. Iran is probably like one of the oldest countries, or at least in that area, for years, for generations, for a good reason on that one. But it's just, we just don't know, and this is what's terrifying, because you do not know what could come out of this. Yeah. Yeah, there's some travelogue videos on YouTube from around the world that make it, yeah. It's, you just don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I just don't understand. I don't understand the logic behind it. It doesn't make any sense to do it. We knew that apparently the negotiations were apparently proceeding well, so why go ahead with it? Oh, that's right. Israel just wants to have... just basically wants to cripple Iran. And also bear in mind, let's also, say as well, because we have to, the regime in Iran, I do not like. I do not support the regime in Iran. But how do you know that the regime that might replace it is going to be better? How does it not maybe even be worse? You just don't know what could happen, what could replace it. It may even be worse. We've got to at least be thankful at the moment the Taliban probably don't come to play, because they're busy with Pakistan at the moment. But and we've also got the possibility that, the economy, I mean, Jesus Christ, if the economy happens, which I think might be their goal. They just basically want to try and make the economy worse, because at the moment, every country, if the economy goes on a bit of a wobble, every country is going to be going to be causing problems for them. But if you want a silver lining on this, if you are a Ukraine supporter like myself, the good news here is that, oh, thank you very much, Mitch. The US did the wrong thing, and I'm very sorry for our conduct, regardless of how bad it was, even how bad the regime was. Yeah, I mean, it's... I would say this now. If you are an American, you are watching this, and you do not like what's going on, you should let your Congress people know. You should let your Congress people know. You should start phoning them, emailing them every single day. Like flood their inboxes, everything. Start lobbying them hard. I seriously, start lobbying them hard. Even if you've got a Republican in charge, get petitions going, anything you can. Push back hard. Because and well, if the midterms happen, well, don't vote Republican. is the message. Make this an absolute disaster for Republicans in the midterms. Just make it an absolute disaster for them. And hopefully, if it's a Democrat, Senate or Congress, then you've probably got a chance there that Trump becomes quite the lame duck president, and you probably will get impeachment hearings, probably on Pete Hegseth, probably on every single, every single crazy member of the administration, and at least that will slow them down somewhat. But I would love to know, bear in mind, how, because obviously there were people saying, we're not going to vote for Kamala Harris. And I would love to know, bear in mind, what world we would live in that somehow Kamala Harris is doing not only this, but worse, because that was the argument for why you shouldn't go out and vote for Harris. Just... Yeah, if Harris was in control, if the Democrats was if it was a Harris presidency, this would not be happening. This would not be happening at all. Full stop. It would have never have gotten to this point at all. The craziness that we've seen, since Trump 2.0 was taken over would never have happened at all. And I would love to hear the explanation of how everything that Trump and all the madness that Trump has somehow done, somehow Kamala Harris is like that, but worse. Oh. Yeah. Here's the thing, sometimes you have to vote. You have to vote for the lesser of two evils. And and there are consequences if you put people like this in power. We're seeing it here in the UK, of where Reform UK have taken over local councils, which again I cover quite heavily on my channel. If you're interested, do hit the subscribe button on that one. And they are just running into scandals, disasters, one after another, after claiming somehow that they were going to be the ultimate, bee's knees. We are going to be the best on this one. Didn't really turn out that way, did it? Didn't really turn out that way, did it, guys? Turns out if you put a ton of people in charge of government institutions that have no idea what they're doing, turns out you get quite a big mess. Yeah, well, that was, again, that was the other one, Paulie Donkey. that was the other thing, because obviously they were attacking US assets in those areas. But as well, we've seen in Russia, those drones are not 100% accurate, shall we say. So they don't want to drag any more countries close around them into this. So, apologizing maybe is a good step, but will it keep any other countries that they've attacked? I don't know. The UAE, oh my God, the UAE is like, is like, let's go. The Middle East is going to be a mess for again a long time to come now, thanks to this Trump administration. America can explain how America can win. You are basically going to have to commit to a long-term occupation of Iran, which is going to cost you billions in dollars. You're going to have to fight an insurgency that is probably going to be incredibly more motivated, well-equipped, and certainly more prepared than Iran, than Iraq was. So, if you enjoyed all those losses in Iraq during the insurgency years, you ain't seen nothing yet. You ain't seen nothing yet in that. Blame the League of Nations. Yeah, 20 years of Afghanistan disaster, exactly. This will be another useless and waste of an occupation, because everything Trump wants, he has to go. He has to go and get, boots on the ground. He has to put boots on the ground. He absolutely has to put boots on the ground. There is no other way for like Trump to actually achieve anything unless he puts troops on the ground. That ain't gonna happen. That is absolutely ridiculous on that one. If he thinks he's going to achieve anything unless he actually puts boots on the ground. So what am I not being open-minded enough about? What am I being open-minded enough? What about? I don't understand. I'm, quote, stuck in my ways. Right. Yeah, he could just stop the bombing campaign, but then what? There's not exactly an easy exit strategy for them on this. It is not looking good. and even then, what do they achieve? There's so much it just doesn't achieve on this. Yeah, and again, as Mitch points out, he was meant to be the peace president. He was meant to be the peace president, guys. Aren't you people staying out of the conflict? Yes, we are staying out of the conflict. Good luck with your pointless war. That's not going to achieve anything, or possibly even achieve even worse outcomes. Good luck in that, by the way. Oh. Starmer should give Trump Clacton. I mean, I don't support the war. Well, neither do I. It is ridiculous. It is ridiculous to think that, you know, this war is somehow going to end up in a good or positive outcome, because no one can predict what's going to happen at all. It is just going to. It could just be turned into an even bigger mess. You know, this entire war is going to be a colossal mess, because you don't know what's going to happen there. How do you know that the administration that takes over is not going to be like, you know, even worse than the current one? You don't know. You don't know. Anyone saying that there's a plan, there isn't one, because Trump won't tell anyone what the quote plan is. It's just, we'll just bomb Iran, and now I'm going to ask for unconditional surrender, and somehow that will work. No, you didn't need to take any action whatsoever, because there were already peace talks going on prior to this that we know were working, that were bearing fruit. They say war is a failure of diplomacy, but in this case, they just wanted war. Neither do you. I can make predictions about what happens, but anyone saying who knows with like absolute clarity that they know what's going to happen in this case is fooling themselves. You have no idea what's going to happen in this case. I mean, Iran could go into civil war. That could have a very bad outcome for the area. It could maybe turn into another version of Syria for years, going through a decade of civil war. There's a whole range of things you could predict. We just don't know what will happen, because there is no plan. There is no objective except to just basically cripple Iran and make it a failed state, which even then does not provide any good outcomes. Because those of you who are wanting, quote, lower immigration, how many of these Iranians now might decide to come here as asylum seekers? I mean, you know, come on in, you know, guys. But yeah, this is not how you solve the problem with Iran at all. But as always, thank you very much for joining me today on today's Good Morning Walk. Do remember, of course, to click the like and share button on your way out. And of course, as always, we'll of course see you all next time. Go out and enjoy your weekend, as always. As they always say, if you can't be safe, at least be sensible. And of course, we'll see you all next time for another Good Morning Walk.